Ahoy, mateys! Miss Annie here. I thought I'd sail in and tell you a story about Moses and some water. Ahoy, Theo!
Ahoy, Annie!
Boys and girls, do you know about Moses and the Red Sea?
I know.
I can see that.
I know all about the Red Sea. I'm ready for questions. Fire away.
What do you remember about Moses and the Red Sea?
I remember that the people of God were very afraid
Why was that?
because thousands of their enemies were chasing after them with more than sticks and stones. That's enough to be scared, but they wanted to do more than just hurt the Israelites.
That's right, and they couldn't go any further at one point. Why was that?
Because they met with the Red Sea.
Why were they afraid?
The enemy was approaching.
Yes, and?
There were a lot of them, and they had no way to protect themselves.
Go on, and?
And the water was deep.
And?
And they had no boats or rafts to get across the sea with.
Would you be afraid?
Well, sure.
But should they have been afraid?
I don't understand.
The people of God were afraid too, and they were complaining to Moses like it was his fault.
Well, they were supposed to be following God.
And they were very nervous right about now. They heard the horses and the clanging of the soldiers' swords and shields.
I would have been scared.
Do you remember what happened next?
God got involved.
He always does, doesn't he?
I know we can count on that.
So what happened next?
Well, Moses gave the command, and Aaron lifted up the rod that God gave them. And God brought a great wind that parted the Red Sea like an open book.
Then what?
They crossed the sea. And they got to the other side. And they were safe.
Then what?
And they were safe.
Is that the end of the story?
Well, you tell me.
No, it is not. God brought them to the other side, but the danger was still behind them.
Oh, yeah. The soldiers were still coming, and the water was still parted.
Then what happened?
Well, God brought the water down on the enemy.
And what does this teach you?
To trust God and to not be afraid.
That's right. No matter what trouble you're in, God will help you.
I must tell you, I would have been very scared going through the Red Sea.
I'm sure they were too, but God protected them.
Yeah, and I would have been scared when I saw the soldiers coming after us. But you know, I probably would always remember what God did when the water fell on the soldiers.
And that's what God wanted his people to do, to remember where they came from and sin no more.
Just like us, remember where we came from and sin no more.
Good lesson. Thanks for helping us with this lesson today. Bye, Theo.
Bye, everybody.
You see, the people had trouble trusting that God would help them, even though he helped them over and over and over again. God rescued them from Pharaoh, protected them from the plagues, got them across the Red Sea, and kept watching over them. He watches over us too. We will learn later about how God continued to provide for his people in the wilderness after they crossed the Red Sea.